Hi there, welcome back to Mastering the Young Band. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about sectionals. Sectionals is a practice that's used by really a lot of the top band programs in the country. And how we do it at my school here is with my top group, we have sectionals. Each section, so the flutes, the oboes, bassoon, saxophone, trumpet, etc., they have a 1 hour sectional before school and after school. Now, my school starts at 8:15 in the morning, so the sectionals actually begin at 7:05, and then they end at 8:05. That way the students have 10 minutes to transition into their first class. Now, sectionals can be difficult or sometimes challenging to get a tradition built up and to kind of get the support you need from parents. And so a recommendation, how I got sectionals started in my school, when we were selected to perform at our state convention, I kind of used sectionals as a, hey, we have this huge performance that we have to get ready for. And so I want to do this thing called sectionals, and I send out this letter to families and just explain what they are, why they're important. And a lot of the points that I hit home with them are going, our band is over 50 students, and to be able to help individuals is just really challenging when you have that many kids. I can't build relationships as well with your students in a large classroom. And in sectionals, I can help students more individually as a section, and I can just keep building relationship with them in a smaller setting compared to our large ensemble. When you tie it to some big performance or big event, it's amazing how most of the time parents going, oh yeah, that makes sense. We're doing something towards this. 1 hour a week, not a big deal. If it's not a state convention, maybe it's festival. Maybe the first time you try sectionals, you tell your families, hey, we're going to a festival in March or April, whenever it is for your school. And you tell families, hey, I want to do sectionals for 8 weeks. We're going to get ready for our festival, and for 8 weeks, we're going to do sectionals. Now, when you build the sectional schedule, what I do is I have families, I just do a little Google form, and I just first ask them, are they in any school sports? Because that's always going to help determine what days are best for them. You want to avoid game days, obviously. Then I'll ask families going, what's your preferred day? What's a day you absolutely cannot do? And then I build my schedule from there. Most of the time when I do that, I can build most of my schedule. I still sometimes have to call families and go, hey, you said you can't do Wednesday, but that's the only afternoon that works for the horns, for instance. And a lot of times families go, no, we can make that work. It's just, it's kind of convenient. And so most of the time that works. Sometimes too, as you know, these are middle schoolers. A ton of them are still doing sports and band, and we want to encourage them to do both always. And so sometimes I'll go talk to the coaches and go, hey, these 2 clarinet players are on your volleyball team. Can I once a week after school keep them in sectional for 45 minutes or 30 minutes, and then they join you late? And my coaches at my school here are fantastic. They're always like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Send them at 4 o'clock, because we start our after school sectionals at 3:15 and then they go to 4:15. So just working with staff that way and parents, the schedule does build itself. It can be challenging at times with your athletes especially. It's usually the mornings are the ones that have the least amount of conflict, and then the afternoons with sports, practices, and games can be a little more challenging. But tying that first sectional experience to some big performance is a great way of getting buy-in. And then you'll actually be surprised, like kids start really looking forward to sectionals. When I usually say, all right, everybody, this is our last week of sectionals, more often than not, my kids go, oh, sectionals are done. It's like, yep, sorry, I'm tired of you. I don't want to be here early in the morning anymore. And I kind of joke with them. So with my top band, we do sectionals first, second, and third quarter. And as I built that tradition up, now it's just something the kids expect and they look forward to it. Another thing that can kind of build excitement around sectionals, I have a parent volunteer that creates a sign-up genius that's just for what we call sectional treats. In the morning, parents sign up to bring donuts. In the afternoons, they bring them like cookies and stuff. And boy, it's amazing how a donut will get a sleepy teenager excited to get out of bed and be at sectionals in the morning. So that's something that we do in my program, in my school. It's just a nice little bonus for the kids to get here early, or when they're here after school. They really look for those treats and time together. Now, something that I added with my second group, at my school, we have an advisory period at the end of the day for 40 minutes. So what I started doing just a few years ago, is I actually added sectionals for my second band during that ELO time. I got approval from my administration to not have to have, we call it ELO, Extended Learning Opportunity. It's an advisory period, but I have an unscheduled ELO, and then what I do is I schedule my honors band 5 days a week in that 40-minute period. What I typically have to do, because it's only 5 and there's more instrument groups, I usually put flutes and saxophones together. I have clarinets in their own sectional with bass clarinets, trumpets and horns in a sectional, low brass, so trombone, euphonium, and tuba, and then a percussion. And those are the 5 that I do. Now, something that I learned that's worked pretty well, so many of my second band kids are in sports. Trying to have sectionals in that first quarter was pretty challenging for me. It was just impossible to not schedule them and have them miss because of early release for sports. So what I started doing is I actually delay starting my honors band sectionals until later in September. I let them have their sports, and then we start when sports are just ending, and then we'll go pretty much for the entire year with the second band. So even though they miss a big chunk of the first quarter, I keep them in sectionals throughout the year. We'll probably end around the end of April. I won't do sectionals in May. It just gets too busy for the kids and for me to keep those going. I have a ton of kids that do track, and trying to schedule those sectionals around track meets is near impossible. So I just started that, and the same thing, the honors band kids, they're like, do we have sectional today? It's like, no, sorry, it's concert week. I don't do sectionals on concert weeks. And they're like, oh, they're usually really disappointed because they look forward to it, just because it just feels different. You know, my second band is 51 kids. Having 51 kids compared to having, 6 flutes, it just feels entirely different. So in those sectionals, just so you know what I work on, with my top band, I really think of it as an extension of their beginning band experience. We work on instrument-specific techniques, like clarinets will work on register studies, altissimo fingerings, even pinky fingerings from the Rubank book. Saxophones will do octave drills along with double reeds. Flutes will do octave drills and harmonics. I just work on specific techniques that we don't work on during band time in sectionals. Sectionals are a fantastic way of working with your students on intonation. You can do it down a row in sectionals with kids pitch matching with the harmony director in such a more efficient way because it's less kids. I do pitch matching during class as well, but doing it in sectional is the best way to teach concept, reinforce, and it's just more comfortable for the kids too. So we work on instrument-specific techniques. We work on intonation and tuning and just ear development. And then, of course, we work on their honor band music. CU Honor Band in my state, that's the University of Colorado, hosts a middle school honor band. And we also have a district honor band that will work on that material in those sectionals too. First quarter, we don't spend much time in the sheet music. We might get to it the last couple weeks of the quarter. Second quarter, we start doing a little bit more sheet music, but then it's especially third quarter. That's where we really dig in detail our festival music especially. And during sectionals, we'll actually do these things. I call them check-offs or pass-offs. So every week they're assigned an excerpt from their sheet music, and the next sectional, they go down the row and they perform that excerpt actually for a grade and for feedback. And then what they can do is if they get a grade they didn't like, I use Flipgrid. They record their retake in Flipgrid. They email me, and then they could get a better grade from their retake. So that's what I do with my top group. With my second band, that's where I really teach them a lot of the techniques and the foundations for Superior Performance book, especially the warm-up sets. We'll work on the octave and register studies there. Brass players working on their slurs. So it's with only 40 minutes, I can only work on 1 or 2 skills with them, which includes intonation, by the way. And then we move on to their sheet music a little bit sooner, just because it's nice with a huge band in their second year to work with them a little bit on their parts, especially brass and their partials. Grade 2 music, since it moves to part 1, part 2, it's good to be able to end sectional, go, okay, trumpet 1, let's play that together. And, we'll play on the harmony director, or, now trumpet 2, let's play it, just to start hearing those partials and harmonies. So if you've never started sectionals, I cannot stress enough how great they are. They're a ton of work. They're a ton of time. I'm not going to lie to you. When sectionals end for my top group, going into the fourth quarter, it's a little bit of a, I made it, just because it's a long day. I get here at 6:45 a.m., have a sectional, teach all day, sectional after school, and then I'm done at 4:15. And it's a long teaching day. It's a lot. But the payoff is huge. When I started going to more consistent sectionals with my top band, I just saw my students' understanding of the music and concept of sound and musicianship just increase. And I found they even just enjoy band more because they get to know me better rather than that huge band where it's just not very personal. So I hope that helps you in knowing what sectionals are and some ideas too to get them started. Finding something important that you're kind of going towards, starting sectionals, and that just gives your students a taste of it, and then you can start building that tradition from there. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.